Hello, my name is Nicky Fuller. I'm the course director for the British Equestrian Level 4 Coaching Certificate, and my role is about supporting coaches from the start of thinking about Level 4 coaching certificate right through to the end point of the qualification. My role is about supporting coaches through the integration of some of the academic work into their practical coaching environment, and integrating understanding from theoretical concepts into practical application. In this presentation, I will look in more detail at the process and how the Level 4 works with the postgraduate diploma and the other elements of the Level 4 programme. So the process starts really with preparing coaches in readiness for the Level 4 programme, and that starts with a whole range of qualifications from the Youth Pathway programme run by British Equestrian, from the Level 3 coaching certificates through National Development Programme for Coaching Excellence, and a whole combination of CPD and other relevant qualifications. They all provide a platform on which coaches have built a skill base in readiness to apply for Level 4. Now, the application process involves an information session, such as this, an application. Applications are then viewed by both member body, who the coach affiliates through, and British Equestrian. There is also an interview process, and the interview process is about a two-way finding out, a two-way both from British Equestrian and member bodies, checking readiness of the coach to join the programme so that they can flourish and succeed through the Level 4 learning, and also for the coach to find out whether or not it's the right programme for them and whether or not they feel they are ready prepared. The programme then is a 2-year and 2-month programme, and that includes a postgraduate diploma in professional practice in sports coaching, and Paul Garner from the University of Gloucestershire will talk you through the modules and what that looks like and the content. And then they're aligned to that, and almost wrapping around the postgraduate diploma is the Level 4 support programme and final assessment. And that includes a whole range of things that I will talk about a little later. Coming out of the Level 4 programme, coaches will hold postgraduate diploma in professional practice, but a number of coaches have gone on and taken another year and gained their master's degree programme, and we have several coaches that have also are in the process of moving on and taking a PhD study. So there are routes out of the Level 4 programme, as well as clear routes into the programme. It's largely a three-way collaboration between Equestrian, British Equestrian and its member bodies, British Rowing and the University of Gloucestershire, and the three organisations work really closely to come up with a programme. So British Rowing coaches will go through a really same programme or similar programme to equestrian coaches. You will also find on the postgraduate diploma 1 or 2 other coaches from a range of other sports. So there's a good integration of coaches and good mixing of coaches. And I have to say that the postgraduate diploma is not any old postgraduate diploma. It's a postgraduate diploma that has been shaped by British Equestrian and British Rowing. So it really reflects and supports coaches who are experienced and already out in the field working and want to excel their coaching techniques. So what is it all about, and what are we trying to do through the Level 4? It is certainly not about producing coaches who will parrot a particular line of thinking and who will coach in a certain way. By the time you get to level 4, you will already be a fairly established coach. What level 4 does is provide insight from contemporary literature around coaching, provides you with the opportunity to critically evaluate and discuss that with colleagues and peers who are also coaching across a number of different sports. And we will also provide you with insight and information about yourself, so through 360 reviews. And what we hope that does is lead to more effective decision making, which is underpinned with a robust and sound insight. And we think that the reason that this is not about coaching in one way is because you will all be working with different kinds of participants or athletes in a range of different contexts. So the level 4 program will help you to become effective decision makers wherever you might be coaching and with whomever you might be coaching. And the thing about whomever you might be coaching, and the fact that you will hear throughout the presentations around level 4, that this level 4 program is specifically about high performing coaches, not coaches working in high performance. There's a strong philosophy attached to this program that is about coaches should be high performing wherever and whomever they are coaching. And we recognise that within the equine industry, there are round about 6 different participant groups that we've identified. We also recognise that a number of coaches work across a range of these different participants or athletes. What we say is that working through the level 4 program, we would hope you have a particular lens on a focus group of riders that you might work with, and they might be ones that you either enjoy working with or ones that you feel that you're particularly effective. So in essence, that's about riders up to the age of 12 of all abilities. It can be around teenagers, again, of all abilities, not necessarily those who are aspiring to higher levels. And it's about getting it right for them, giving them the best quality coaching, helping them to stay in the sport, and building all sorts of behavioural and personal traits as well as skill development. It might be about working with adult participation riders, probably the biggest market that we have within equine. And that's any riders over the age of 18 who are riding for pleasure. They might be doing some competing, but competing is not the be all and end all, and they are not competing to move through the ranks and achieve higher level classes. It could be for personal well-being goals, etc. We class adult competitive riders as those over the age of 18 and whose key aim in their equine involvement is competing and doing well in competitions. And it might be moving up the levels, but it might be competing well within a level. From that, we then begin to look at performance riders, and that's any rider who has been identified or is in part of a pathway, and that might be called the talent pathway. So it's riders that might be on teams, on squads, on programs, and have been recognised that they have some potential to be developed. And we know that there are a number of coaches who specialise and work in that area. And the final category is high performance. That's coaches who are working with riders who are representing their country. So the expertise that we're looking for is in one of those broad 6 categories, and we recognise that they probably cover all. Okay, so what's the content around? Because we work with another sport, and because even within equestrian, we have had coaches that range from carriage driving through dressage, eventing, show jumping, horseball. It is too difficult to do technical development, i.e. skill development. And I'll talk about how we help you to develop in that area. So the level 4 course is very much about your coaching skills, and we've grouped those into 2 separate areas. One we are calling interpersonal coaching skills, and that's your coaching skills when you work with other people, and that's looking at all sorts of coaching pedagogies, how you organize and develop your coaching, leadership, creating a positive coaching climate and environment, communication with others, and so on. So that's the interpersonal, how you interact with other people. And the other big area that we focus on is your intrapersonal, and that's your ability and knowledge of self. So your ability to know your strengths, know how to operate at your very best, possibly more often. And that includes things like emotional intelligence, your ability to reflect at a deep and meaningful level, and it's around your personal development planning. So they're the 2 key areas that are focused throughout the level 4 program. And this is a description of a level 4 coach, and it's not unique to equestrian or rowing. This is a level 4 descriptor that was produced through UK Coaching, and it's shared by a whole range of different sports who offer the equivalent of the level 4 coaching qualification. But it very much talks about being visionary, cutting edge. That means that you are looking at contemporary insight to underpin what you do, that you are knowledgeable, and therefore your decisions are based on robust evidence. That it goes without saying that you have exceptional skills when you're working with your riders and behaviours, and that you have the highest professional and ethical standards. And aligned to that, both equestrian and rowing have 7 performance capabilities that we ask you to present on when you come forward for your application process and interview, but also moving out of the programme. These are the final markers that you will come to a final panel and present to, and you'll present around these 7 performance capabilities. And they are around your ability to build and maintain long-term working relationships. And that's both with riders, other coaches, it could be with your member body, it could be with program managers, and it could be people that manage you in a work relationship. And you will be evidencing how you do that and what you recognise in yourself that goes to help building those relationships. You're going to talk to us around creating and sustaining a supportive learning environment, and you'll be able to describe what that means. You'll be able to articulate what that looks like in your environment and how you get that right for a range of different people that you coach. We'll also ask you to look at how do you empower and challenge both yourself and the participants that you work with. Those words are bandied around quite a lot about an empowerment approach. We're going to be asking you specifically what it is that you do to make that happen, so that your riders and you actually are able to exceed what you might originally have thought you might ever achieve. There's an expectation that you can integrate learning across a range of subject areas, make sense of those and integrate them to solve everyday problems and manage change. Coaching is, and you will hear often, it is described as a complex area. It's complex because we work with riders who have different needs, and in equestrian case, a range of different equines, and getting it right for that partnership isn't always straightforward. So we'll be asking you, what are your strategies? What are you drawing from to help make informed decisions and get the coaching program right for each and every rider that you work with? And that links to about generating strategies to make effective decisions in this very uncertain environment that you work in as coaches, and being able to articulate that and describe what you do in detail, that comes with a really good underpinning and is influenced with insight from reasoned argument, is not always easy to describe. And yet the level 4 program will help to move you to that point. It goes without saying that in order to do that we expect you to have exceptional communication skills. So being able to make the very difficult and complex ideas into simple, clear, easily understood language. And the final and probably the most important aspect, and the reason why we are developing the level 4 program and coaches through that program, is because we know it'll have an impact, and a positive impact, on those people that coaches work with. But we want coaches to be able to identify and demonstrate what are the positive impacts, not just on performance outcome, skill learning, but around participants' behaviour, mental well-being, etc. So they are the 7 capabilities that run throughout the level 4 program. So what is it made up of, and what will you be doing through that 2 years and 2 months of the level 4 program? There is the postgraduate diploma that runs from September through to midsummer of the 2 years that you will be on the program. Paul Garner will talk more about that in his session. We start with a level 4 induction day, which is exclusive to equestrian coaches, and it is really going through what I'm talking about here in a bit more detail and starting you on your journey of reflection. And it's also about helping you to meet and make relationships with other people that are on the level 4 program from within equestrian. We recognise that's really important. The informal learning is often as powerful as the formal bits of learning. It's where sense is made, and you can begin to talk through maybe some of your experimentation, and people begin to understand that and can check and challenge. Okay, so that's the level 4 induction day, and that will be one day held in September. You'll then get 2 what's called 360 reviews, where you'll identify either riders that you work with, or coaches, or contemporaries, parents, possibly of riders, and they will provide anonymous feedback on a whole range of questions. That information gets collated, and then that's shared with you through a discussion where we identify what does that mean to you and what you want to be as a coach. What are there any strengths in there that you don't recognize in yourself, and what we do as a result of that information, how we use it to build and grow. You'll also receive 2 field-based visits, and that's from a mentor out in the field who will not be an equine expert, but they will be a coaching expert. And what they will do is come out in the field, they'll have a discussion with you, they'll observe you doing some coaching, and then they'll have a really full discussion with you around what they observed, what you might think of those observations, whether or not that's aligned to your thinking and what you're trying to achieve, and they'll work with you to develop an action plan for you going through the level 4 program and out of that field-based visit. We do ask you to identify a mentor or a series of mentors to support you through the level 4 programme. And they might be a mentor that can help you with your technical development, so that you're able to keep up to date and current in that area as you are with your coaching understanding. Or it might be somebody who is just a really good sounding board and somebody you know that you can trust and that will be really helpful to you through this intensive period of learning. And we do ask you on your application form to identify whom you think might be useful as a mentor or a series of mentors, but we also understand that sometimes these people pop up as you work through the programme. Right from the get-go, so from the initial induction day, we ask you to keep a reflective log through the level 4 programme. And that's a reflection of you, your development, your growth, your growing self-awareness. And we ask that that is presented in a condensed and summarised way at the end of your programme, and it will be presented to a panel, and that will form part of the final assessment process for level 4. I alluded to earlier that being involved with others and the informal learning and discussions are often as powerful as the formal learning, and it is an opportunity and a place to make real sense of what's the growing knowledge that you're acquiring. And anecdotally, we hear from level 4 coaches that say that where they've had a strong community of coaching practice, both equestrian and rowing and other sports that have been involved with the postgraduate diploma, that they have been probably some of the strongest cohorts that we've seen. So we really strongly encourage you to network and be involved with others that are on the programme. And the whole level 4 completes with a final panel submission and interview. So that's a submission of your reflective log and a presentation, and then coming forward to an interview with a panel of people who will listen to your presentation and then have a really good discussion with you, probably over 90 minutes or so. So that's the whole programme that runs from September through to 2 years later in a November. This programme isn't like probably some of the other shorter programmes that you might have been through previously. A coaching certificate programme, for example. There is a real onus on you taking ownership of your own development. You won't have a knock at your door or a call or a regular drop-in around how you're getting on with writing your log and whether your log is being written in the right way. We say to you, you find a way that makes sense. So it is really very much about you taking hold of the learning that you're doing and applying it into your own setting. With that said, both British Equestrian, and that's myself, and University of Gloucestershire will guide and support you. But it is worth acknowledging that you'll be doing more learning away from the formal contact days than you will be within the formal contact days. And that's why having a network around you is really useful. This isn't just about gaining a qualification either. If you want to just gain a qualification, I grant you there will be easier ways than coming through the level 4. You've got to want to grow and develop as much as a person and a coach, not just achieve a badge and a qualification. Self-reflection are critical tools to this process, and I'm sure that most people listening to this will have done self-reflection as part of the programs they've been involved in getting to this point. At level 4, we're saying it's to the power of 10, and that we require you to do deep and meaningful self-reflections that will really support your learning. This is an intensive 2-year learning program, and without effective self-reflection, which will grow and develop over the 2-year period, your learning will be limited within the requirements of the programme. And working well as a cohort, I think, is really important for your motivation. And that's not just me. I think I'm saying that based on evidence from previous cohorts. So, summing this up, and what the Level 4 coaching certificate really is about. So it's a combination of academic, critical thinking, being applied in your coaching context, and your coaching context will look very different from the next person. So it is about you experimenting with that and trying it out and having a really magnified lens on that to make sense of it and evaluate it. It involves you growing your interpersonal skills, so working with others, and it will absolutely grow your intrapersonal skills. And that's not just for the sake of it, but that's about enhancing your performance and others' performance, and both yours and your riders' enjoyment of the activity that they're involved in. You'll get support from both British Equestrian and the University of Gloucestershire and your own member body. So I think your own member body won't necessarily be able to help you with some of the minutiae detail. However, when it comes to bigger projects around possibly work-based project, member bodies are quite active in helping you source information about their particular environment and sport. And finally, the whole purpose of this is to help generate high-performing coaches in every part of the industry that will not only grow it, but help sustain what we already have. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you interview at some stage. Thank you.